Hello, Aries. Amanda here. Welcome to Unseen Hands Healing. This is going to be your monthly shift reading for the month of January 2020, the first month of the new year. So for this reading, we are looking at the shape you are shifting out of, the shape you are shifting into, and what that shift looks and feels like along the way. So before we get into your cards, I want to talk a little bit about the meditation that came through as I was considering your energy here. I was seeing something very specific, even down to the lighting. It was the magic hour, it seemed to be, I felt like it was more towards sunset, around like that 5 p.m., actually around the time it is at the time I'm recording this reading, and I can see that glow is starting to form on the whole world where everything starts to look a bit magical, and it's the perfect time for photographers and for filmmakers. And I sort of felt that. It sort of felt like the scene I was seeing was being filmed because the lighting was so perfect. There was this Pepsi cup, I know, very specific, that I was holding in this visualization, and I was picking at the plastic rim of the lid to this Pepsi cup, and sort of like picking at it over and over all the way around, and then like picking at the little flaps where the straw goes through, popping the bubbles in over and over and over, popping them back out, popping them back in. And then I was like moving the straw through the hole over and over and making that like sound that the straw makes as it pulls in and out of the plastic lid. So all of the sounds were very specific. All of the like little actions I was doing, the lighting, everything was very particular. There was an overarching sense that I was at a bus stop waiting for something. That I was like going somewhere or traveling somewhere maybe, but that I was like waiting for something to happen, waiting for night to come or waiting for the bus to come. There was a real sense of waiting that was really pervasive. And I think part of what's coming through in this meditation for you, Aries, is specifically the way that I found myself picking at the lid felt very meticulous, hyper specific and focused. Maybe even like picking yourself apart or like focusing on the details so much that you're missing something larger. Maybe a little bit of obsessive compulsive type energy was coming through there. Very interesting way to start off this reading. But again, I want to bring it back to the fact that you're waiting for something. Let's go to cards. Okay. And maybe perhaps obsessing over small details as you wait. Interesting. Let's go to cards. First, we are asking, I'll give it a couple shuffles on camera for you. I always pre-shuffle the decks, but some folks like to see or hear, in this case, the shuffle. Okay. All right, so first we're going to ask the shape that you are shifting out of in January. What is the shape that Aries is leaving behind in January? You got 2 cards. 1 second. Oh, we love to see that. Okay, good. You are leaving behind the 3 of Swords, which is some heartbreak, pain, swords that have been carried in the heart for a very long time. This card also speaks to triggering that can happen between the head and the heart, between the ongoing conversation between the head, which is the swords, the mind, and the heart. Interesting. And you're really leaving behind a huge cycle here with the World card, closing out a very, very big cycle, perhaps of your heart being broken or carrying swords in your heart, really closing that out now, in favor of something entirely new, starting an entirely new chapter, which perhaps is what you were waiting for something to begin here. So now let's ask, what is the shape you are shifting into? Well, that was quick. Let's get 2 cards just to make it even. I'm a Virgo, I like to make it even. One more. What is the shape Aries is shifting into in January? So far we have the 9 of Cups. Is there another card for the shape that Aries is shifting into? Okay. Let's see. You're shifting into the 9 of Cups. Yay. Desires being fulfilled, absolute abundance, a feast, being flush with desire, following desires, following the emotional desires, even into excess. And the Hierophant, which is listening to the higher self, the connection between the earthly embodiment of you and your higher self, your soul, your spirit, higher guidance. That's nice. That's really nice, especially because in the 9 of Cups, we've got this person holding this pearl above them that is suspended, which to me is speaking to the Hierophant, really feeling that connection with higher wisdom, connecting with something higher. I'm getting a really playful energy out of this 9 of Cups. I'm getting like vibrance, and the color palette is like this really bright, vibrant Almodovar film, with like really potent colors. And I was feeling that energy in the meditation with the Pepsi cup, of how like specific the lighting was and how vibrant the colors were and sounds. More specifically for those film folks out there, the energy that I felt in the meditation was actually more like the aesthetic of True Romance, if you know that movie. Okay, so you're closing out cycles of pain in the heart pain, and moving towards, and I mean like really closing it out. This isn't closing a chapter, this is closing a book, and moving towards connecting with higher guidance and moving towards earthly delights and pleasures and the satisfaction of your heart's desires. Really beautiful. So now let's look at what that shift looks like for Aries. What does that shift look and feel like for Aries in January? Ace of Wands, happy to see that come out as I peeped it in your pre-shuffle briefly. One more card for what does this shift look and feel like for Aries? Okay. Good. Good, good, good. Goody, goody. Oh, okay. Look at this. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. This is what your shift looks like. The Ace of Wands, the ignition, the spark of life. The Phoenix rising, the new beginning. We love to see an ace right after the World card. The big ending and the new beginning with the ace. Potential, creative potential, passionate potential. And then we've got the Queen of Swords, discernment, being aligned with your higher truth, having keen wisdom, insight, vision. And then the Knight of Wands, following that passion, that fire to move forward towards that 9 of Cups, that heart's desire. So, I mean, gosh, in this spread already, all I see is red and pink and vibrant colors. There is such passion. There is such fire, Aries, which I love to see. This is such an Aries energy for me, this Ace of this Ace of Fire, you know, it's just like right out the gate, automatically, boom, this is me, you know, this is Aries, this is me, I'm bold, this is how I'm doing things, you know, this is what I'm inspired to do. And so I'm going to follow that lead. I'm going to come out as this peacock, flamboyantly following the whims of my passions, leaving the heartbreak behind. This is what I'm looking at. See how the figure in the World card is quite literally pointing to this Ace of Wands. Leaving the heartbreak behind, closing that chapter in order to focus on creativity, passion, ignition. Ignition is the spark of life here, Aries. Ignition, and then with the Knight of Wands following that ignition. You know, if this is the flash in the pan, then the Knight of Wands knows exactly where to carry that flash, knows exactly where to head, what direction to head in with that fire, and will pursue it at all costs. I'm getting something really specific with the Queen of Swords and all of this fire energy. You need the Queen of Swords as part of your experience as you make this shift in January, this very fiery shift, leaving the heaviness of heartbreak behind in favor of the lightness of your fiery creative energy. In order to do that, you need this discernment, this clear sight, clear vision. I'm drawn to the owl on her head with this like saintly glowing halo, this gold that is here behind the head and here at the side of the face. It's interesting how the clouds, you know, the swords are all about the air element. See how the clouds are almost encroaching? See how they could, if they were continue to move, they could almost encroach over the vision of the Queen of Swords. It's akin to the smoke that the Knight of Wands is escaping from. Where there's fire, there's also smoke. And if the fire is particularly wet in any way, or the wood is particularly wet in any way, there will be even more smoke. Something's coming through here about making sure that the smoke, that the fire actually takes you somewhere instead of just blowing smoke. That's what's coming through here. Because if you continue to just sort of like generate fire that's bogged down by wetness, and for some reason I'm bringing out this Three of Swords with the wetness, because there's something about like the emotional heaviness of heartbreak can make the wood damp, and so the fire will not burn. It will just smoke. That's why this needs to be closed out with the world. That cycle needs to fully end so that you can start a new fire, essentially start over with wood that is not wet. Reignite your creative fires with wood that is properly dry, that has plenty of air, so that you're not just blowing smoke now, Aries, so that you have somewhere to actually go with that fire. It's not just about the ignition. It's about the long-term vision and the ability to carry that out. And that's all on you. That's all on you having the ability to have a larger vision and stick with it, and use your discernment to say no to anything that would come into your realm and blow smoke and distract you from your vision, from carrying out the full potential of this fire. The Queen of Swords is very much about saying no when the situation calls for it. And that's how this fire will lead you to all of this abundance. Everything in this card feels lit with fire, creativity, vitality. Interesting too, because in the Hierophant, we even have the flames of the candles that burn through devotion and ritual. Devotion, ritual, commitment. Aries, this is about commitment. And not to anyone else. Commitment to yourself. Some readers use this as the marriage card, the Hierophant. This is marriage to yourself. Marriage to your heart's desires, your creative desires, so that nothing else can come in and dampen this fire and cause all of the smoke and all of the confusion and all of the foggy vision. No more of that. This is you saying no to all of that, closing that chapter officially and really committing to your heart's desires, committing to yourself here, Aries. I think it's time for you. I really do. There's so much fire energy on the board here. It's time for your creativity to take you places now. And it is time for a higher level of commitment to your art or to your creative work, like whatever this fire, this ignition, this spark in the Ace of Wands represents for you. You now have the potential here in January to commit to stoking this flame into something real and truly sustainable for your heart. Now I want to say something, and this might sound a little funny, but I'm being drawn to say it. It may be worth actually holding a ceremony or a ritual of marriage to your work or yourself or your art or whatever this like flame of your soul is. This is how you phoenix, by actually committing to that instead of theoretically committing to it. And it may be useful to solidify that commitment through ritual. And so it's very specific, but I'm literally seeing you holding a ceremony of commitment to your art in a public, and it could be public or like with an intimate group of friends, to witness your proclamation, your vows, to honor and devote yourself to this flame, whatever that is for you. I'm not feeling romance here, by the way. This is something entirely else, and it's much more linked to creativity and creative, passionate pursuits of something. Not that you can't be creative and passionate in pursuit of romance. It's just not what this reading is feeling like for me. Because I think instead of, going back to the vision I had in the beginning, waiting at the bus stop, waiting for something to pick you up, like waiting for your life to kind of happen, and in the meantime obsessing over compulsions or obsessing over the details of things without actually getting anywhere. It perpetuates this, like, the way fire can manifest as like a flash in the pan and then that's it. This is talking about long-term sustainability. And this is talking about your fire actually taking you somewhere now. But it's really up to you to use that higher wisdom to make that happen, and that long-term vision that you've got inside of yourself. to move forward in true commitment. Beautiful. We're going to get a postcard from the liminal space to end this part of your reading for January 2020 for Aries. What is the oracle guidance here for Aries in 2020, in January of 2020 during this shift? Interesting. Is it true there is no other? What I see in this card is someone who's got this like singing bowl over their head, which is limiting their vision. And then this other hand comes in and rings the singing bowl as if to say, wake up. Is it true there is no other alternative? Or is it true there's no other possibilities? Is it true there's no other option here? Thinking outside the box here. Changing the vibration to ring out in a different way. Is it true there is no other? Really, really interesting. One more. I wonder what that's about. Anything else for Aries in January 2020? Allow yourself the luxury of possibility. Is it true there is no other? Allow yourself to think in terms of options. Beautiful. Reset. Reset. Is it true there's no other way of going about this? Is it true there's no other alternative for you in whatever situation you're waiting for? Okay? That's the one thing. And then the second thing, reset, which is just gorgeous. Yep. New. Ace of Wands, reset, new beginning. Closing out the old, ringing in the new with the reset. Beautiful. So now, Aries, what I'm going to do is take this reading into an extension. We're doing something a little special for these extended readings, all right? So those of you who are used to viewing those extendeds, we've got a little something extra for you this time. So I'm going to look at quarterly overall what the energy is for you in the wheel of this next year. So this is a larger offering that I offer over on my website, unseenhandshealing.com, where you can get a wheel of the year reading, which offers you energy guidance for each month out of the year as we move around the wheel of the year. And so in the extended readings, for those of you who are patrons on my Patreon page, you will have access to those extended readings. For those of you who are not yet patrons, you can click the link below, read all about Patreon on the description, and see if it sounds like that's for you. And if it is, and you'd like to sign up, then you can view this extended reading. And so in that extended, we're going to clarify this reading that I did for you here on YouTube. And we're also going to end with an additional reading that looks at the energy of 2020 overall for you in quarters. The first quarter, second, third, and fourth quarter of 2020 along that wheel. Okay, Aries? So if that sounds like something you're interested in, stick around. I'll put a little preview of it at the end of this reading for you to check that out, see if it's resonating. If it is, again, just click the link in the description below. That will take you to Patreon. Please do read the full description so that you are well aware of how Patreon works and how you will receive your extended reading from me. All right? Aries, take care. Happy New Year. I'm very excited to see where this reset, where this ignition takes you in the long term here in 2020. Take care. Bye-bye. I like that we start with fire and we end with air. It just feels like the smoke is clearing. Absolute clarity. Far, able to see very far. Able to breathe. Because this 10 of Cups, it's like it finally comes in. That's what it feels like. And then you're just able to breathe. and see a future, a far-reaching future